Monday afternoon at the Hellenic Club in Australia's capital Canberra, and we have just witnessed the final round of the 50th Dobell Cup. In the end, we had a four-way tie for first. The first game to be decided was a draw between Adam Horvath and Gurgly Sabo. On top board, it was a not very exciting Petrov defence. Horvath looked like he might have the advantage, but couldn't make anything of it. Board 2 was much more eventful. In this game, we had two players playing for their Grandmaster result, Rathnakaran and Karthikeyan. Rathnakaran needed to win, Karthikeyan needed only to draw, both of them trying for their first Grandmaster result. Rathnakaran looked like he had shot his bolt, he attacked too hard, and the counter-attack looked like it would kill him. But just when it looked like he was going under, he found some great defensive moves, turned the tables, and by move 40, Rathnakaran was the winner. Not only did he win that game, but he was also the only winner of the $1,000 fighting fund for players who didn't make any short draws during the tournament and won in the final round. One more player joined the tie, Levente Vaja, the top seed. He had to play second seed, Deep Sengupta, in the final round. A long night ending, which he finally won to join the four players first. In the end, it came down to a countback, and the winner on countback was Adam Horvath. Well deserved. He led the tournament much of the way. He beat the leader Karthikeyan at one point to take the outright lead. Eventually he was caught on the line, but he was ahead of Gurgly Sabo on tiebreak. Now, the other results of note, Bobby Cheng, playing for his third and final International Master result, lost a winning position against Akshat Kamparia. Nerves got the better of him, so no International Master norms for the Australian in this tournament. Also, Ariane Kaoli, Australia's #1 woman player, was also the #1 woman player in this tournament, finishing ahead of Sally Yu, a surprise packet, and also Irene Sikandar, a disappointment, Indonesia's top woman player. In the end, it's been a great Dobell Cup, and to finish up, we'll have a look at the best game of the final round between the two Indian International Masters fighting to the death, one of them getting a Grandmaster norm. Rathnakaran, needing to win, has gambled everything on a big kingside attack, but after his opponent's next move, Rook D8, suddenly Rathnakaran realised that none of his sacrifices worked and he was going to have to go on the defensive. However, he kept his head. He played H3, at least his king was safe. Karthikeyan responded with Bishop G8, covering the king, getting ready for Bishop G7, and he thought he was going to win. After Bishop E2, Bishop H7, Rook back, he launches the big counter-attack. Rook check, king moves, queen in, threatening checkmate. The only way out is to move the rook on G3. Now, check, king up, check, rook back. It's amazing that white can hang on here. But Rathnakaran still wasn't thinking about a draw. He was still hoping to win. He needed the win for a Grandmaster result. He'd already played 8 times for his Grandmaster result and failed every time in the last round. This time, well, he feared it was going to be like that again. Karthikeyan thought that he could play Rook F1, a spectacular move, but he suddenly got nervous. After Rook F1, he thought, what happens if my opponent goes Bishop takes, Queen takes pawn check, and just goes back with the king, and suddenly plays Queen F7 and Bishop C4. Then the threat is just to move the queen away from F7, and he couldn't see any perpetual check, he couldn't see a way to survive. It turns out after Queen takes F5, Queen E7, he can play moves like H5 or just Bishop G6. All of them are completely fine for black. But not wanting to play that, he headed off for something worse. Queen D2, Rook takes E4. He's now a pawn down. Maybe he can hang on in this position, but he certainly can't after Queen D7. He just goes passive, and suddenly Rathnakaran starts taking the initiative. He doesn't worry about his king because he's threatening on the back rank. Now, Queen F3, the final mistake, grabbing the A-pawn. He's trying to equalise material, but now the white rooks invade, and it was only a few more moves before Karthikeyan had to resign. So, a sad end to the tournament for Karthikeyan, who beat 4 Grandmasters in this event, but when it came to the crunch, he couldn't hold a draw against his compatriot IM, Rathnakaran, who needed the win. And as a result, we have a 3-way tie for first place. The players will share the money, but only one gets the Dobell Cup.